So in the thumbnail, for those checking this out on the replay, even those that are checking this out right now and attended, you're attending my live stream. Okay. The thumbnail was representative of we can't let perfect become the enemy of good. So keep in mind when people say that someone is too good to be true, because in their mind they have this idea of what being perfect is. And so for the most part in society, being perfect is being imperfect. But what about someone that's worth it? What about someone that's actually just trying to show that they're worth your time, worth your love, but somehow that comes off as too good to be true? See, that's what I think the problem is. It's not the problem that someone is necessarily too good to be true. It's just that when they have done at least some amount of good, you tend to think that's too good to be true, because in your mind what perfection is that's not it. That's, this person is just too good. They're too good, which I don't understand. If you've been around people that are too bad, what's wrong with somebody coming around you trying to show you some good? Like I said, a lot of us are quick to destroy things. Yeah, we're quick to destroy things. We're not quick to build things, even though all this time we like to sit around and talk about building. No, if you are not with that person no more, you destroyed it. As far as I'm concerned, like, uh, people are not sticking around with people to build things. They would rather just come and destroy whatever good there could have been there. Like, uh, and so I'm not really making this gender bias, just giving the topic. Man, that's too good to be true. I will talk about, and actually for you ladies on the replay, I'll actually come back and do a live stream addressing this idea of a girl that's too good for a guy. I'm gonna talk about it, but it's not going to be what you think it is, because I speak from the inverted perspective. Given this topic is of such, because I'm not here to slander the guy that has been good, but someone is just trying to see if there's like a red flag about this person just because they're doing good. Like the person actually wants to do good, but you're so used to bad that you have to like not look at the guy as good as being anything else other than just him being good, and that's it. But it's probably too much. See, too good for her to be true to him. See, that's what it also is. Okay, because she ain't used to that. She's not used to a guy that wants to spend time with her. She's not used to a guy that just is that, really a guy, like, really on some manly stuff, really has a certain aura about him. She's not used to that. She's not used to none of that. So it comes off as too good to be true. But in reality, it is, he's just too good for her to be true to him. Not that there's something bad about him. So for you guys that do get around gals, and they might say that you're just too good. Well, it's a blessing. Treat it as that. Nothing else. Nothing more, nothing less. Don't take it personal. Because I want to also add this, because in my walks of life, I've heard a lot of these young gals that are coming up, unfortunately, and they're being indoctrinated. So it is real. Like, this ain't just made up type of stuff. It's real. It's going on out here. So I heard a young girl, she was just like, this grown up stuff, I'm not really ready for, this being in adult stuff, I'm not ready for. Like, so the other day I had this guy, and he was hitting on me, and he was actually a pretty nice guy, but I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that. I'm kind of cringing. And all my friends told me that the best thing I need to do is, if I don't want to have that conversation with him, just text him and then block his number. See, like, this is what's going on with guys that actually are nice. They're getting blocked. They're getting pushed away. They're getting rejected because, you know, this other thing is this, okay? And I want to bring this up. In the West, I think what's led to some of this is a lot of gals that were misled. So when a guy is coming off and he's being nice, well, you're wondering if you're going to get misled. Are you going to be let down again? Are you going to see that he's not going to want to be committed to you, even though he showers you with all these gifts and all this serenade and all this whatever, but it ends up being a big masquerade. The serenade becomes a masquerade. I get it, ladies, but hey, it's still all about that risk is worth the reward. Okay. So there is someone that is real. You have to get better at discerning. I really believe that, with a lot of the feminine, just developing a better support system. And I mean it. Don't get around gals that also don't have men in their lives. They don't have husbands and things like that. You want to be around family that can help you be better guided when it comes to a certain man and have them meet that guy too. Like do that with guys is that's yeah, I don't want to talk about the discernment that guys need because I'm trying to stay on topic. There's so many ways we can unpack this discussion as a whole, but I just want to say that it's just unfortunate that things just come off as too good to be true. They treat the nice guy like he's a psychopath. That's what it is. Like, and reminds me of something else within my walks of life. A lot of girls that are into the scary movies, they tend to watch movies where I guess the nice guy in that particular movie, he's the psychopath. So girls like they sometimes translate that to real life if a guy comes off as quote being too good to be true. They want the guy that has issues and things like that, or there has to be some type of conflict because that's normal. Because the other thing once again, goes back to the guy that was nice. Oh, everything's good. No, it's just too good. I want some argument. We got to have some discord. We got to have some fighting. We got to have some cutting each other off and not speaking to each other. That's normal. Or just you doing whatever I want you to do. That's normal. I'm not used to a man trying to be a man. Like, I'm not, no. Hey, what's good, Venom? I see you, family. Good to see you once again. Just talking about basically when it's too good to be true, basically like a real gentleman. See, like that's like, ain't that the double standard? Some gals be like, yo, I want you to be a gentleman, but when he's a gentleman, now that's too good to be true. Like, make that make sense. You want him to be chivalrous, but the chivalry is too good to be true. Make that make sense. You want him to care. You want him to protect. You want him to quote unquote. You want him to quote unquote provide, but that could be seeming as too good to be true. Make that make sense. So that's why I say for like the real guys that are being nice, the real gentlemen, here's what you do. And I guess, yes, the witches will take notes. I say this. Yes, the witches and the warlocks will take notes too. But you can't stop what what's meant to be. And I say that just generally speaking. Like, I'm not trying to get spiritual or biblical. You can't stop what's meant to be. So even with the negativity of the note taking from the naysayers, you can't stop what's meant to be. Yeah. Exactly, Venom. They want simple men, not gentlemen. Exactly. Because they understand that language. When a guy is too good to be true, they don't understand that language. They understand the language of the simple type of man, even though the gentleman is actually keeping things simple too. But with that said, what I mean by that is what he simply wants for a woman is mostly too complicated for most of these females that are not trying to be women to understand. Like, yeah, once again, I'll repeat what the gentleman simply wants from a real woman is too complicated for these females that aren't trying to be a woman to understand. Okay. Like, and so a lot of things comes off as too good to be true. Why? Because the typical female will be like, what? You just want me to love you? You didn't want nothing else from me? You want me to call you sometimes? You want me to talk to you? You want me to stay in touch with you? Like, you just want me to give you a hug sometimes? What? No, like, they're not used to that. You know? For them, the simple is complicated and the complicated is simple. See, the simple man versus the gentleman, he has to do all the complicated things. To them, that is very good, not too good to be true. They want the complications. That's the crazy part. From the simple man, But from the gentleman, his simplicity is the complication. It sounds weird, but that's the way it goes, y'all. I kid y'all not. You said venom. Simple to control, manipulate, but no real backbone of boundaries, not to violate. Exactly. But when it comes to the fundamentals of true simplicity from a gentleman, they don't like the fundamentals. They don't want fundamentals. They're not fond of the fundamentals. A lot of gals are. You know, a lot of people talk about game, but they don't want to deal with the fundamentals. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people talk about game, but they don't have highlights. And I'm not even about game at this channel. I peep game. I could watch game. I'm in the stands. I'm in the VIP box. And I'd say this, I walk away from the game, you know, into some real life outside the arena. And we dealing with this idea that once you get outside the arena, most people just don't really know what to do or what to say or how to say it. They get on this virtual space with these what virtue signals, you know. Like I'm gonna talk about all this. We're gonna get to it. So like I said, y'all know me. If y'all don't see me around, that means I'm cooking. But when I'm coming back to talk to y'all, I got some good things to present to y'all on the table. See, we gonna say this too. Like, you know, you got a lot of gals talking about being a queen, but no king. You know what I'm saying? Pretty soon you're gonna have gals talking about being a wife, but no husband. You know, like how do they do that? By calling themselves wife material. Like that's sort of off the subject, but I say all this to say that hey, a certain man wants you to be his wife. A certain man wants you to be his queen, but that's too good to be true because a man ain't supposed to want these things in 2023. Like, he ain't supposed to want these things. Like, what, a man not supposed to know what he wants? You know, because you got a lot of the lesser feminine, not the greater feminine, but the lesser feminine that always talk about what they want, but they don't like a man that talks about what he wants. That's too good to be true. What I mean by this is not that this is a conflict of interest, you know, to say that he's bucking against her in what she requires, even though that's true too. You know, gals don't like it when a man has things that he requires from her as well. She'll be hanging up the phone, you know, she'll be basically trying to ghost you. But it's also true that, you know, when a man wants something, she's not used to a man wanting her. You see what I'm saying? She ain't used to that. That's too good to be true. Like, you actually want me? Like, you want to be with me? Like, you want to love me? You sure it ain't just sex? Just tell me. If you want to just have sex, tell me. Look, and then you'd be like, no, it ain't like that. Like, I want you for more than just sex. You're supposed to be a helpmeet, not just merely meeting my sexual gratification. Like, actually want you to be a woman, you know, you know, like be there with me, you know. You know, and she ain't used to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, she ain't used to that. So that's all too good for her to be true. So really, a lot of girls, and they talk about this. Y'all know they talk about this stuff in the church. They be like, look here, young lady, or look here, old lady, you know, because we talk about the old lady too. Hey, we're going to do that. Okay, not to digress, we're going to talk about both. Let's talk about the young lady, right? In a church. Let's say it was just a church setting, right? Just old school, because old school church is part of that old school, okay, whether you like it or not, okay, based on where you're from. Okay, like, look here, young lady, your blessing could be just right there in your face, but you thought he was too good to be true, okay? And you're going to let that slide by and let your whole life go away because whatever you feeling right now, you feel like it ain't the right time for you to have a man like that. But you know what they say, young gal, young lady, God may not come when you want him to, but he's always on time. She ain't agreeing with that because she like, well, right now the time, I'm just like, this ain't the right time for me to, he's everything I want, but just this ain't the right time. I just told you, God comes right on time, not when you want him to. He's just too good to be true right now. Well, that's on God's time and not your time, sweetie. Up to you. Now the old lady, talk to her. You look here, old lady. You let a lot of nice guys go by. You let a lot of them go by because of what you thought was too good to be true. Haven't you figured it out by now? You too old to still be going through all these different men, and then you still trying to give relationship advice. There ain't really no advice you can give. You need to be giving a testimony, and you don't have one right now, apparently. Obviously, you don't have one. All you can talk about is how guys are too good to be true that you've met, but you still don't have a man. You still don't have a husband. So, goes back to what I said earlier. He was just too good for her to be true, because there's things about her that's the red flag. There's things about her that she wasn't willing to open up about and to get right and to get straight. Because see, accountability. She would have to get right and be straight with that man, be 100, for his goodness. See, we can't let perfect be the enemy of good. See, she's letting perfect be the enemy of good, just meaning that she wasn't even striving for perfection to be around a certain man that was doing good for her. See, this is a deep rabbit hole, y'all. You said Venom. Most treated their blessings like he needed to learn their lesson and fumbled to choose stressing. Right. Like that statement that you fumbled the bag. See, a lot of girls fumbled the bag because they thought the dude was too good to be true. See what I'm saying? Like that's sad. So yeah, doing good, that's the thing, man. It just becomes messed up. Like how can a man do all these things for you when it's just going to end up too good to be true? You know? And you wonder why you have a lot of dissidents from guys who, either don't want to be around a feminine, you know, or, they'd rather go overseas, or they'd rather deal with other types of feminine that they normally wouldn't deal with, whether it's ethnically speaking or virtually speaking, right? Culturally speaking, religiously, spiritually speaking. You have this, okay? So I get it. And have I've had my own set challenges with it? Yeah, I mean, but I just continue to forge through it. Just having a certain perspective that I don't speak much on, beyond just having the inverted perspective. There's other perspectives that I go with as well. Let's just say that I don't try to see things from a white knight's perspective. So just giving y'all a little hint as to what I mean for those that are really in the know, who've been knowing what I've been talking about. You see what I'm saying? So if you know, you know. If you don't know, you just don't know at this point, right? You've been around at my channel long enough, you kind of know. But for those who are new to the channel, much love to y'all. If y'all got any questions, feel free to ask. But right now, this is definitely for those that are in the know of yours truly, who know what I'm talking about. But I'll just say that it's I really just don't want to hear about what a girl like. Like I said, I'm not being gender biased. So let me put the disclaimer out there right now. The title is "Nice Guy." It didn't say "Nice Girl." Too good to be true. Nice guy. Too good to be true. But for the ladies, I'll do a live stream right after this one just to talk about that too, right? So y'all don't feel like, hey, you know how it is out here in these spaces. You know what I mean? But no, I don't want to hear another gal talk about what she requires from a man and what she want him to do and how she want him to be and all that. And then he do all these things for her. Now it's like it's too good to be true. Nah, nah. I say, fellas, be just discerning. Continue to just do what you feel is needed for a gal. If as far as what she deserves and what she will appreciate. Obviously, uh you're only doing for a gal, you'll only initiate for a gal that appreciates as well as reciprocate. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't gonna do for a gal that don't appreciate. You're not gonna do for a gal that don't reciprocate. And so, let her get mad. It is what it is. If you're not trying to reciprocate, if you're not trying to appreciate, that man don't need to initiate anything. He initiated a conversation with you at first, and maybe it seems like y'all had good vibes, but then somewhere along the way you decided to kind of show some of your true colors or even fake colors. So then he kind of had to take a back seat, like, oh no, I don't know about all this, but I mean, I'm willing to try to see where you're about going from there, but I know I can't drag this thing out if it seems like you're just going to be another lost cause, right? And then on top of that, I'll try to do some things for you, but now it's too good to be true. Because now you're still, clashing with me, or, arguing with me, or just not appreciating me. You don't call me all the time. You don't text me all the time, or you don't want to see me all the time, right? Because now you made this confession like it's just too much, like I'm not used to all this, or you just don't appreciate it. Like, too good to be true based on the non appreciation. Uh, well, just merely that it's just like water. People take it for granted. So that's the part of too good to be true. Uh, what people take for granted every day. A nice guy is sometimes like water. People just take water for granted. People don't drink enough water, right? People don't do all the essential things that, is vital for your survival. But on your deathbed, they're going to be like, yo, you had needed more fluids and you could have stopped some of these cancers and strokes and high blood pressures and blood clots from taking place, right? Like, now it means something. Now it's dire. Now it's no longer too good to be true. Now it is something that so good you should have had this in your life the whole time. Like, but you took it for granted when it was there. You left that water and still started drinking that soda. You see, uh, and hey, the soda is cool, but things should be done in moderation, right? So, yeah, let's apply that quote, nice guy in that situation. Yeah, you've been around all the toxic dudes, whatever, but that nice guy should be that Fiji water, right? He should be that water you should be drinking on, like first thing in the morning, right? You need to have an adequate supply of that. You need to have an adequate supply of him, sweetie. He's not too good to be true. He is good enough for you to be true with him. Okay. But yeah, a guy can do good and it seems like it's never enough. That's the crazy thing, right? Because you's trying to find red flags in him somewhere because you're used to toxicity. So even his goodness, like you have to find things wrong with him. There's something he did wrong. You just have to find it. Yo, it's something he did wrong. It could be something petty, something freaking petty, right? Like, but yet them toxic dudes stop talking to you because of petty things, but you now rubbing that off on this nice guy, you know? Nah, this is just too good to be true. I gotta find out problems with him. I gotta yell at him. I gotta raise my voice. I gotta do things. This is a lot to say. Maybe I'll have to talk about this another time once again, but just want to give y'all an idea that, yeah, this idea of what I mean by too good to be true, once again, that's a disclaimer. I'm not using this to slander towards guys that have been good and people weren't trying to be well, let me rephrase that. What I mean as a disclaimer is I'm not trying to slander guys that I guess were too good to be true because they were like maniacal and malevolent. Like, no, that's not what I mean. Uh, this live stream, this particular video is simply about how it's unfortunate that this even have to be a conversation in the first place. Really, if you think about it, like, come on, man, come on. It's like you're trying to have a man, right, ladies? You're trying to have a family. You're trying to have a husband. Well, darn it, you better make sure he's some good for you, okay? And you better make sure he's good to you. So I don't need to hear about how a man is too good to be true when a man is supposed to be good for you and good to you. There, I said it. I'm gonna just close the curtain on that. I'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks a million.